Oh, yeah, it's time to ride with Electric Pete, where the wheels are clean, the vibes are high, and the future's fully charged. We've got that rideshare love. No gas, just go. Full charge, full power. Now let's roll.
I'm ready when you are, my friend.
All righty, folks. Welcome back to Electric Pete. I'm your host, Pete. And as always, I drive an electric vehicle and bring you real stories from the road, the riders, and a little spark of inspiration along the way. But today is extra special. I'm sitting down with someone who's not just an incredibly professional person, but also family.
Yes.
Let me take you back to Thanksgiving 2024, where at my brother-in-law's house, passing the turkey, and Matt tells me, "Hey, Pete, my boss just told me that I'm starting a podcast about respiratory therapy." I was like, "Wait, what?" And without skipping a beat, he turns to me, "You should start a podcast about your Uber business, your stories, your riders, everything you've experienced." That moment flipped a switch. I had already spent a year grinding and optimizing my business. I, my daily income by 35% a day, cut my work week down to 5 days, and found a whole new rhythm. And now, here I am sharing those stories with all of you. So today, I'm thrilled to welcome Matt to my show, just as a healthcare, not just as a healthcare hero, but as the spark who helped light the electric heat fire. So let's dive in.
That's so nice, Pete. So, for all the Electric Pete audience members out there, I am Matt Pavlichko. I'm Electric Pete's nephew, which I love very much, and I remember that Thanksgiving so because I could see the spark flip like that. You're like, all right, let's talk about this more. Like it's just a great thing, and having some turkey and some clam stuffing as always for mom. Got to say that. But yeah, we just started talking about podcasting and how it even started. It's such a weird thing, but I am blessed to be on your show today, Uncle Pete, Electric Uncle Pete. I love it. So let's get into it. What do you want to talk about today, buddy?
All right, that sounds great. So, yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about Thanksgiving. And did you ever think turkey dinner would lead to two podcasts in the same family?
No. The podcast world is interesting because I fell into it. Like literally, my boss said, "You're going to start a podcast." I'm like, "What? What's a podcast?" Like I didn't understand it at all. And now we're 70 episodes in, and we're the number one respiratory podcast in the world. I just had somebody on from Egypt came on the podcast. Moaz, who's awesome. He started actually the Respiratory Foundation in Egypt. He's the first person to be a respiratory therapist in Egypt. So the podcast has opened doors for me, and I love it. I love hanging out, talking to people. It's just been a lot of fun. And I'll tell you what, my first few episodes were not very good, but they're better now. But yeah, going back to Thanksgiving, I can't believe it. And you have a bunch of episodes now too. It's awesome. You're doing great.
That's great. That's great. So, have you always been comfortable speaking into a mic, or was this a big leap for you?
Yes, I like the, how do I say it? I like the rush of being on stage. I like to be in front of other people. I'll talk about anything. Like all my colleagues, all my family is like, "Yeah, Matt can talk about anything." That's kind of how it is. So I've always been comfortable with it, but I actually really like it. I like the rush.
Uh, that's great. That's great. So now, can you describe your very first episode? You're nervous, excited, both.
I was actually just talking to my first episode's guest. His name's Josh Good. He's a good friend of mine, was a respiratory therapist with me at Lancaster General. I was literally just talking to him this weekend. The first episode was in my house with him and I sitting next to each other on a Zoom call just like this, and just kind of, just hanging out and talking about respiratory therapy stuff. We didn't have anybody on. We had no listeners at the time, and it was terrible. I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, Josh was the first. And we just kind of started talking about it. It was just really good stuff to talk about respiratory therapy. And, Pete, you and I have talked about this before. Like, I've never been in the military. My brother Sean is, but COVID was my war, and it was tough on me. And just having respiratory therapists talk about respiratory therapy things goes a long way. And it was almost therapeutic for me to be able to and listen to the stories and kind of reminisce. So that's what it really did for me. That's what I love about the podcast. It's therapy.
Wonderful. So now, what's the one thing the public doesn't understand about respiratory therapy and you wish more people knew?
Yeah. So if you're listening to this podcast, go to more.R.Ts.com. We need a lot more respiratory therapists. I fell into it, Uncle Pete. I fell into it. I wrestled at Mansfield, and I just picked a major that would work for me. And I fell in love with respiratory therapy. I've been doing it almost now 30 years. Most people don't know what a respiratory therapist is, to be honest. It's a very hidden profession.
Maybe more people are aware of respiratory issues because of COVID.
Because of COVID, absolutely. So you have long-term COVID. COVID really highlighted respiratory therapy, but on the other hand, we just still don't have enough of this. And even my mom, goes, "What does a respiratory therapist do?" Like, they know now, but I save lives for a living. That's what I do. Like, if you're trying to die, I'm going to bring you back to life. That's what I do. And,
okay, excellent.
So all the ventilators that you heard about during COVID, I run those ventilators, and so does my wife. Heather's a therapist too. We run life support. That's what we do for a living, and we're pretty good at it now. You don't want me touching a patient anymore, though. It's been a while.
So what type of topics do you dive into on your podcast, and who's your audience?
So when we first started the podcast, we really wanted it to be about respiratory therapy leadership. Okay. There's about 200,000 respiratory therapists in the country, but there's not a lot of respiratory leaders, like people that run departments like I did. And that's really where we kind of got started. But then we realized that all respiratory therapists wanted to hear about the story, not just respiratory leaders. So for me, it's about a story. I like to tell stories. I like to hear stories, and that's what people need to hear. That's just what it is, And
I tell a lot of stories in my Uber.
and that's the whole thing. That's what brings you joy. You tell stories, you hear stories, like that's your joy, and that's the joy for me too. That's why we started podcasting, because it's joyful.
Right.
Yeah, and now we have
so
close to 100,000.
What kind of topics do you dive into on your podcast? Oh wait, you know what? I just said that. All right. So how about what's been the most rewarding part of podcasting so far for you?
I remember this very vividly. I was in California, and a young woman came up to me. I was at a conference. I was giving a lecture. She came up to me. She goes, "Oh my God, you're Matt Pavlichko." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's Tanaka. This is for you." And she goes, "I'm such a big fan of RT Sidebar." And I'm like, "Oh my God, people are actually listening." and I can't believe
Wow.
it. Like it
That's
was,
really fantastic.
and it was so cool. And when I met Moaz, who's from Egypt, I met him in Florida at a big convention, and I said, "Hey, Moaz, my name's Matt." He goes, "I know who you are." I'm like, "You do?" He goes, "Yeah, you're RT Sidebar." I'm like, "Oh my god, that is so cool." what I what I get from my audience the most is thank you for just having a podcast that's about respiratory therapists. Just thank you. And I'm like, "You're welcome." It's kind of fun. So yeah, that's what I like. So right now, our audience really is respiratory therapists or respiratory therapy in general. We have about 50,000 followers right now, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Awesome. I have maybe 300.
You get there. I had one. Remember when we turned on the Zoom? You're like, "Look, there's two of us on." That was my first podcast. There was two, me and Josh. That's all it was. So like, and that's where it was rather interesting. So,
Uh-huh. Well, that's cool. So, any tips that you would give uh, to someone thinking about starting their own show? And, like I did in our conversation, what would you tell someone?
The first thing I would say is this: podcasting is not easy. Okay, you got to prepare yourself. You got to prepare yourself. You're going to put some time into editing and doing all this stuff. That's probably like, it's not just something you just, "Hey, I'm just going to get on a Zoom call and start talking." That part's easy. The technical stuff, all that, like there's a lot to it. But what I would say is this, and I actually gave a lecture to a couple of high school students about this. Be passionate about it. Find something you're passionate about and go for it. Be something different. That's important. And you can find your topic, you can find your theme. Electric Pete, you're talking about the things that you like to talk about. I talk about respiratory therapy. That's what I like to talk about. So have a passion, talk about it, and dig deep. Like dig real deep into that topic. That's probably my best advice.
So what would you say is your favorite part of respiratory therapy? What really?
So my favorite part of doing this podcast is talking to people. Like I have a gigantic network that I never thought I had before. Like when I first started podcasting, I had like 400 friends on LinkedIn. I now have almost 4,000.
Wow.
Yes,
Excellent.
and that's the part. Like, "Hey, Matt, I want to come on your podcast." Like people come up to me and say, "Hey, I want to be on your podcast." Like I don't have to do any advertising, and they just go for it. Like that's probably the best thing. Like I just had a really awesome conversation with two wonderful leaders. One from the Morse Children's in Delaware, one from CHOP. So good to talk to.
CHOP, my favorite hospital in Philadelphia.
You got it. The hospital in Philadelphia, right? There you go. But we just talked about leadership. We talked about how to not take things personally in the hospital, and it was went really well. It was just the people I get to meet, the people I get to talk to is really what I get to really what I enjoy the most.
Very nice. So when you told me I should start a podcast, did you really think I'd run with it?
Yeah. If I know anything about my Uncle Pete, he'll try anything. He will try anything. I just thought it was, you have like an interesting point of view. Electric Pete is really through your lens. Your lens is different than a lot of other people, and I think that's what makes it interesting.
That I agree. I mean, when I started driving Uber,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it was something I could earn money, but who thought I could earn a living driving Uber, right? And starting a podcast, I've already done something that most people do not do.
You are correct.
So I'm
Absolutely.
thinking that
your perspective, like we've all been in an Uber. I've been in hundreds, if not thousands of them, but I never looked at it the way you look at it. I never looked at it through your eyes. All these people that you meet every day, and some of them are probably great. Some of them are probably people you don't want to talk to again. Like there's all these good, but there's always a story there. Every single person that gets in your car has a story. Every human has a story, and you're just pulling it out of them. And I think it's very special.
That my wife gets in the Uber, doesn't say boo, gets out.
Mhm.
If she's taking a ride in the Uber. Me, my kind of viewpoint on that is I'm asking everybody that gets in my car,
Oh, absolutely.
so, do anything fun today?
And that's your personality. You're a lot like I am. You can talk to anybody at any time. Always, you could always you're always up for a conversation, and I think that's what makes podcasting, because you're telling a story, but you're also listening to their story, which I think is really important. Active listening, it gets
Certainly.
people.
Yeah. I got to tell you, one of the best trainings that I've ever had in communication and listening has come from Uber.
How many, I know you've had like 40,000 rides, something crazy like that. Like that's 40,
I'm not counting, but it's about 43,000.
43,000. Holy cow. So that's 43,000 stories that you could get.
Right.
And there's not anybody I know that is going to hear those stories like you do. Like, because after the story's told, they just walk out of your car and then they go on to do the rest of their lives. But like, that's a lot of stories. Stories matter. I say that a lot. Stories matter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, certainly. I mean, if people have listened to my podcast before, episode number 4 is, rider stories as told by Pete.
Yeah.
Because they're recollections. That all happened before, like Pete.
Yeah.
And I'm currently working on getting some video and audio clips for in the car, so that I can capture more stories. And yeah, so that's certainly the best part of it.
It's great. And when you can pull a story out of somebody that you weren't expecting them to say, it feels good. You're like, oh, wow, that's pretty awesome. And I think that is where Electric Pete's going to go. You're going to keep telling the stories. The stories matter. It really does.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
Stories.
You got it, my friend. You got it. So where do you think Electric Pete's going to go?
Where do I think?
Yeah.
Wherever the electricity takes.
I like that answer. That's a good answer.
And so in the beginning, I had developed efficiencies in my business, in my Uber business, so that I was able to reduce the days I work and make the same. That's always been my thing. I want to work less, right? That's the American dream.
Yes.
And so that gave me extra time.
So
I had a weekend, right? But I needed to do something to fill that. So I wanted to do something fun, something creative, and something technical. Now, so my podcast gives me all of those things. There's the fun. This is fun.
It's fun, right? Every time I have somebody on the podcast, they're like, I want to do that again. Like they have so much fun.
And the technical we went through some technical.
Yes, we did 2 hours worth of technical
setting this
today.
up.
Yep.
And the creative.
Yeah.
This whole thing is creative.
Yeah.
So that's really, and that filled those niches. Now, my wife has asked me, Peter, why do you do this podcast?
Yeah.
And I, at first, oh no, she said, why do you do this podcast? And you're going to earn money from it. That's what the wife.
That is the goal, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, sure. But when I started it because of fun, technical creativity. And I told my wife when she asked the first question, "You're going to make money?" I said, "I don't know. I don't know how to make money, but I'll find out." And then she kept asking me again, "Why do you do this, Peter?"
Yeah.
And then I told her, I said, "You know how you go out to trivia with your friends for fun? I do a podcast for fun." Right?
That's what it's about. It's about having fun. Like I always feel so much exhilaration once I'm done a show. I'm like, oh my God, that was so much fun. And it's a lot of work. I'm not going to say it's not, but because it's fun, it makes me want to continue to do it. So that's awesome. I'm glad that you're getting the joy out of it. I had a feeling that you would.
So, wait, say it again.
I knew that you would find joy in this. I really did. Like when we were talking at Thanksgiving, I'm like, you know what? Uncle P would be a good podcaster. Like, I think he'd really like it. And it sounds like you're really enjoying it.
It has been a lot of fun. And so if you could pass on one piece of advice to anyone listening today, whether they're in healthcare, rideshare, or just trying to make a positive change, what would that be?
Oh, wow. That's a question. I would say you only live once. You have one shot at being happy. Do what makes you happy, whether it's your job, whether it's your hobby, whether it's your family, anything. Like there's not enough days in this world to not be happy. Like just be happy. Whatever you do, it should always be about happiness. So whether it's healthcare, whether it's respiratory therapy, just be happy. Really enjoy life to the best it can possibly be. That is probably the best thing, the best advice I could give. It doesn't feel like good advice because it's like, duh, just be happy. But it matters. Like it really matters. Just be happy.
Oh, I agree. And that's why I started this. Because I mean, it wasn't about the money. It was about the fun and the creativity and
absolutely. And this brings me a lot of joy, so I'm very happy doing this. Very happy to come hang out with you today and on your podcast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It's fun. And that's really what it is for me. I just want to have fun. So life's just too short.
Good. Well, I want to thank you so much, Matt, for coming out.
My absolute pleasure.
And for everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to the first ever guest and live event with my nephew, Matt Pavlichko, who helped me start my podcast. And I always tell people, my podcast is called Electric Pete because I'm Pete and I drive an electric vehicle. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I talk about on my podcast pertaining to electric vehicles and the growth of my business and where I'm going with that. So just so many more exciting things that are going to happen.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank you very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Coming out and for having a chat with Electric Pete. So
I love it.
Very cool. and
Oh,
we overcame some technical issues in the
we
beginning.
did. We got through it.
So nobody certainly saw what happened the last 2 hours before we started.
They did not. What a mess. But we got through it. We got through it, and I love that I am able to be a part of your podcast because it expands my network. My boss is like, "What are you doing today?" I'm like, "I'm going to go talk to my uncle, and I'm going to be on his podcast." She's like, "You're nuts." I'm like, "Yes, I am." But that's what we're going to do, and now my network's even bigger. So thank you.
That's my response when everybody says to me, "You're crazy." I said, "Yes, thank you."
Yes, thank you.
Verifiable.
Exactly. Well, it is my absolute pleasure, Uncle Pete. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Matt, and we'll keep moving on, keep having fun, and keep being creative.
You got it, my friend.
That's the wonderful thing. Thank you very much. Take care. Have a great afternoon.
Take care, buddy.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning into Electric Pete. Remember, every rider has a story, and it's my job to share those stories with you. If you enjoy these conversations and want to help Electric Pete grow, especially to upgrade my video and audio gear, or even for even better episodes, please consider supporting the podcast. Your generosity truly makes a difference. Check in the show notes for how to do that. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and share Electric Pete with your friends and your family. Find me on social media or reach out anytime at electricpetepod@gmail.com. Until next time, stay charged, stay positive, and keep your eyes on the road ahead. This is Electric Pete signing off.